Okay, so in today's class we are going to start a new topic, which is pointers. All right, so uh, let's learn some basics of pointers. Okay, and then we are going to start coding. Right. So first, let's learn what is pointer. Okay, what is a pointer? So pointers are variable that stores the address of some other variable. Okay, pointers are variables that stores stores the address of other variables. Okay, so pointers are also variable, but as opposed to typical integer, float, double, character, it stores the address of other variables. Okay, other variable stores the value of an integer, value of a float. Pointer stores the address of those variables. All right. Okay, so let's. So suppose whenever you are writing that int a equal to say 100. So what's happening in the memory location? Suppose this is your memory location, okay, and memory is byte addressable, right? So a equal to 100 is converted into bits and bytes, and then it is stored inside the memory. Okay, all right. So how many bytes an integer takes? In a 64-bit machine, how many bytes integer takes in the memory? 4 byte, right? Okay, so that means in the memory location 4 bytes of memory will be allocated somewhere in the memory, right, for a. All right, so here it is going 100 is going to be stored, which is basically the value of a. Okay. This 100 will be stored in a bits format, 0 1s format. Okay, so suppose this is in address say 5000. All right, now I am writing integer asterisk p. Okay, integer asterisk p means we read it like this: p is a pointer to an integer, or p is an integer pointer. Okay, both are the same. We read like p is a pointer to an integer, or p is an integer pointer. All right, that means p is a pointer to an integer. Okay, or p is an integer pointer. What does this mean? That means p stores the address of an integer. Okay, that means p stores the address of an integer. Okay, so p will store the address. That means in some memory location some space for p will be allocated as well, right? So in a 64-bit computer it will be 8 byte. Okay, so that means in some memory location 8 byte will be allocated for p. Clear? Because p is an integer pointer. Okay, it's not an integer, it's an integer pointer. Clear? Okay, so this is the declaration of p. All right, now what value will be stored over here is not yet defined. By at this point there are some chunk value that will be inside p. Okay, now if I write p is equal to ampersand a. Okay, ampersand means the address of a. Okay, ampersand means the address of a, That means P will store the P will store the address of A. Okay, that means whenever you are writing P equal to ampersand A, P is going to store the address of A. Address means the starting address, okay, which is 5000. Clear? P is going to store the address of A, which is also shown like this. That means P is going to point to A. Okay, P is a pointer to A, or P is going to point to A, or P will store the address of A. These are the two new syntax that you have learned: how to declare an integer pointer and how to assign an integer pointer to point to an address of a integer. Clear? So till this point, whatever you have learned, let's write it and then see what's happening. So let's write basics of pointers. All right, so what did we write? Int A equal to 100, and then I have written int asterisk P. That means P is a pointer to an integer. Okay, and then I have written P is equal to ampersand A. All right. Okay. So int the value of A is %d. The value of P is, let's start with %d. It may give a trouble because P is not an integer, right? So let's, what trouble or warning it is giving. So GCC 6. So here it is showing that %d expects a type integer, but argument 2 is integer pointer. Okay. So the corresponding placeholder for pointer is %p. %p is for the pointer. Okay. So now it is not giving any trouble. Now let's see. So the value of p is, it is written in hexadecimal format. You see 0x something, that means this is in hexadecimal format. Clear? So basically, as you can see that p is storing the some address, okay, and this address is nothing but the address of A. Address of A means the starting address of A. Clear? Okay. Now let's see. So suppose I am printing asterisk p equal to %d. I am printing asterisk p. Okay. What does asterisk p means? Asterisk p means, okay, let's first print and then we are going to. Whenever I am printing asterisk p, it is printing 100, which is nothing but the value of A. Okay, if I change the value of A from 100 to 500, asterisk p is printing 500. Okay, so asterisk p is always printing the value of A. Clear? So that means from this, what do we learn? Asterisk p returns the value of the variable stored at address. Okay, asterisk p returns the value of the variable stored at address p. As we have learned that p is a pointer, that means it stores the address of a variable, right? So asterisk p returns the value of the variable that stores at address p. Clear? And this process is also called dereferencing. Okay? This process is also called dereferencing. Clear? So whatever value A is going to print, asterisk P is also going to print the same thing, because asterisk P returns the value of the variable that is stored at address. And not only that, using asterisk P, I can also change the value of A. So for example, I can write asterisk P equal to say 1000. Okay. That means if I follow the definition, this definition is very important. Asterisk P returns the value of the variable stored at address P. That means by writing asterisk P equal to 100, I am basically changing the value of the variable stored at address P. That means I am changing the value of the variable that is stored at address P to 1000. And what is the value of the variable stored at address P? Or what is the variable that is stored at address P, which is A? That means indirectly I am changing the value of A to 1000. Clear? So let's see whether I am right or wrong, because whenever I am printing the value of A %B, okay, you will see that now whenever I am printing the value of A, I can see that the value of A is changed from 500 to 1000. Okay. Okay, clear with the basics of pointers? There are a couple of basics that we have covered. The syntax of a pointer: P is an integer pointer. Now here P stores the address of A. Okay. Now at this point, if I print asterisk P, that means asterisk P will return the value of the variable that is stored at address P. And then if I write asterisk P equal to 1000, that means it will change the value of the variable that is stored at address P to 1000. All right. Now let's see. Now suppose I am printing the value of P plus 1 is %P plus 1. Okay, let's print P plus 1. Let's see. So you can see that P is this. Okay, P plus 1 is this value. All right. Okay. So ideally, if you add one value 1 to this variable, then if you add 1 to 2c, what value are you going to expect in a hexadecimal format? You will get a value of 2d. Okay, in hexadecimal format, the values varies from 0 to f. Okay, in hexadecimal format, the values going to vary from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and instead of 10, it drives A. Okay, A, B means 11, 12 means C, D means 13, E means 15, 14, F means 15. Okay, so in a hexadecimal notation, the values, individual values varies from 0 to 15. Okay, so instead of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, it is written A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, okay. So if I add 1 to P, ideally it should go from 2C to 2D, right? But here I am able to see 30. Okay, all right. So can you calculate the difference between 2C and 30? What is the difference? So after 2C, 2D, 2E, 2F, and then 30, right? That's how it will come, right? Okay, in a hexadecimal notation, if I count, after 2C, 2D will come, 2D, 2E, 2F, and 30. That means there is a difference of 4. Okay, if I run it once more, you will see that the address is going to change. Okay, the address is going to change because every time I am running, A is stored in different memory location. Okay, but what you will notice is that the difference is exactly the same, 2C30. Okay, if I run it once more, you will see that exact address is going to change, but it is printing 5C60. That means difference is always 4. Okay, so difference is always 4 or 4 byte. Let me call it 4 byte. Okay, so here every time I am incrementing p by 1, I am basically getting an address that is 4 bytes more than the previous address, right? So that means 4 byte is basically nothing but the number of bytes taken by the integer. Okay, so p was pointing to A, p plus 1 is going to point to the next available integer location. Okay, so p plus 1 does not mean that it will be incremented by 1. It will point to the next available integer location. And what is the next available integer location? As integer takes 4 bytes, if p points to 5c, the next available integer location is going to be 60. Okay, or next integer location, next possible integer location is 60. Okay, 5c, 5d, 5b, 5f, and 60. Clear to everyone? Okay, this is very important. All right. If I change it to say long, so I need to change it to LD. Okay, you will see that the difference is, let's calculate B8 to C0. So B8, then B9, BA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then C0. Okay, B8, B9, BA, BB, BC, BD, BE, BF, and then 30. So the difference is 8 bytes. Why 8 byte? Because long is taking 8 byte. So if p points to A, then p plus 1 will point to the next available or possible position for a long integer. Okay, clear to everyone? So in a pointer space, incrementing a pointer by 1 means it will point to the next available location for the corresponding variable. It's not plus 1. Okay, plus 1, incrementing p by 1 means it's not, the value is not going to be incremented by 1. It will be incremented by the amount that is taken by that particular variable where it is pointing to. Okay, all right, so let's change it to integer. In case of character, it will be incremented by 1 because character takes 1 byte. All right, in case of short, it will be incremented by 2. So that means the point that I want to make is that incrementing p by 1 takes us to the next possible integer okay, incrementing p by 1 takes us to the next possible integer address. Okay, this is very important. So that means if I print p plus 2, what is going to be the difference between this and this?
4.
4 byte again. Okay, if I print p plus 3, then also the difference between these two are going to be 4. Okay, let's quickly check. You see 1C and 20, the difference is 4 byte. 20224, the difference is 4 byte. 24228, the difference is 4 byte. Okay, if you run multiple times, the absolute value is going to change, but the relative difference is going to be exactly identical. Okay, this is a very, very important property of pointer arithmetic. All right. Okay, now let's let's take another example. Basic of pointers to words. All right. So let's assume A is say 5,000, and then I am writing int asterisk p. So I can write int asterisk p, and then I can write p equal to ampersand a. Okay, that means p is an integer pointer and p stores the address of it. Otherwise, I can write int asterisk p equal to ampersand a in the same line. Okay, these two are equivalent. This is declaring, so this is a declaration statement. It is declaring that p is an integer pointer, and then this is assigning the value of ampersand a or address of a to p. Okay, here also it is doing the same thing. It is first declaring that p is an integer pointer, and then it is assigning the address of a to p. Okay, these two are equivalent. It is exactly similar to this kind of statement. Okay, I can also break this statement into two lines, int a and then a equal to 5,000. Here I am basically writing in a single line. Assignment and initialization is happening in the same line. Here also assignment and initialization is happening in the same line. Clear? Okay. Now let's see the value of p and asterisk p, or this the value of, yes, we didn't it separately. The value of p is asterisk p value of asterisk p is percentage asterisk p. Okay. So here it is showing that the value of p is something, some address, asterisk p is 5,000. Okay. All right. So here this 5,000 is stored in 4 bytes, right? We know that a takes 4 bytes, 5,000 is stored in 4 bytes. Okay. Now I need to see that what is there in these 4 different bytes. Okay. What's there in 4 different bytes? So for that, let me declare a character pointer. Why character pointer? Because character takes 1 byte. Okay, so integer takes 4 byte. So I need to check in this 4 byte, uh, you know, what value byte 1 is storing, what value byte 2 is storing, 3 is storing, and 4 is storing. Okay, all right. So then if I write pc equal to character pointer, what does this mean? This kind of technique we have learned in the last class. This is basically typecasting, right? We have learned typecasting, right? So here p is an integer pointer, pc is a character pointer. So as they are of 2 different type, I need to do typecasting. Okay, p is an integer pointer. I am converting it to character pointer and then assigning it to pc. Okay, so this is called pointer typecasting. Clear? Okay. So that means PC will point to the same starting address, but PC will only point to the 1 byte. Clear? Okay. So then if I print, basically if I print the same thing and replace it by PC, then this is going to print the first, this is going to print the value of the first byte. PC will point to the first address of, I mean PC will store the address of the first byte. Okay, let's see. So here you can see that PC and P, the starting address is exactly identical. Okay, but asterisk PC is giving a different value. Okay, this is giving a different value as compared to 5000. All right. Okay, so at this point this value doesn't make any sense. All right. So but I know that PC will point to the first byte, PC plus 1 will point to the second byte, right? And similarly, PC plus 2 and 3 will point to the third and fourth byte. Okay, so let's print this. You will see that the starting address on PC and P is the same, or the value of PC and P is the same. PC plus 1, as it is a character pointer, it will add 1 byte, 75, 76, 77, and 77, 76 and 77. Okay, but these values are 1, minus 120, 19, 0, and 0. Okay, so instead of getting 5000, I am getting all these values. So let's see what does these values resembles with this value. Okay, all right. To understand this, let's try to we need to first understand how this 5000 is stored in a memory location. Okay? 5000 is stored in zeros and ones format. So we need to understand how 5000 is stored in the memory location. Okay, let's see. So first let's convert 5000 in binary notation. Okay, let me open a converter, decimal to binary converter, and then let's convert 5000 to its binary notation. Okay, so this is the value. If I convert it to binary, this is going to be the value. Okay, so the corresponding value is this much. Okay, now this value is going to be stored in 4 byte or 32 bit location. Okay, now so let's divide this into 4 byte. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 sorry 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so that means this is going to be 1 byte. All right, and here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, this is going to be the another byte. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, this is going to be another byte, and another byte is going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so when 5000 is stored in a memory location, that means these 4 bytes are stored in that corresponding memory location. Clear? Okay, so let's see, let's convert this to decimal. Okay, let's convert these individual bytes to decimal. Okay, so let's convert binary to decimal. So binary to decimal value, it is showing as minus 120. We'll see that this minus 120 resembles with this value. Okay. All right. This minus 120 resembles with this value. And why it is minus, we are going to learn all this later on. But one thing you can see that here the first bit is 1. That means we have learned first bit is signed bit. So if it is 1, it will become a negative number. Okay. So we see that the corresponding value of the first byte is minus 120. Let's check the second byte. The value of the second byte is 90. You see that this value resembles with this. Okay, and the previous two values are zeros and zeros. So you are getting zeros. Okay, clear to everyone? That means what's happening over here? The PC is pointing to this byte. Okay, PC is pointing to this byte. PC plus 1 is pointing to this byte. PC plus 2 is pointing to this byte. PC plus 3 is pointing to this byte. Clear to everyone? That's how in the memory location 5000 is getting stored. Okay.
Yeah, so the starting byte is the last one.
Okay.
That's negative 120.
You noticed a very important point. Yeah.
Okay.
So based on my assumptions, if I say that PC points to this byte, PC1 points to this byte, PC plus 2 points to this byte, PC plus 3 points to this byte, I think that my outcome is matching, right? And now whatever your friend is saying that why PC points to this location, that means why the starting address is storing this, why not the starting address is storing this. Okay, so for that let's try to understand another concept, which is about big endian versus little endian and what my computing system is following. Okay, all right, so let's try to understand that concept so that we can understand this problem in a even better way. Clear? Okay, so let's see. Okay, so some of you might know what is big endian, what is little endian. For everyone, let me quickly summarize this, the idea. Big endian and then little endian. So big endian, little endian deals with how certain values are stored in different memory location, or in what order some different values of a variable is stored in a memory location. Let's see. Suppose I want to store 1 1 2 2 3 3 and 4 4. Okay, suppose this is in hexadecimal notation. Okay, this 4 byte, this suppose this is 1 byte, this is second byte, third byte and fourth byte. Okay, so suppose I want to store this in the memory location. Okay, all right, so let's consider that these 4 are the 1 2 3 4. Memory is byte addressable, so this 4 represents, these 4 blocks represent 4 bytes. Okay, so this is the 1000 address, this is 1001, 1002, 1003. In big endian notation, the first byte will the first 8 bits will go to the first location, second 8 bit will go to the next location, third will go here, fourth will go here. Okay, that means they are going to be in order. All right, so if this is the least significant byte, this is the most significant byte, then the most significant byte will be stored first. Okay, the most significant byte will be stored first. Okay, in big endian notation. All right, what's happening in the Little Indian notation? Let's take the same number 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 in hex format, and let's take the same memory locations 1 2 3 4 1000 1001 1002 1003. So here, as opposed to this technique, the least significant byte will be stored first. Okay, this will come here, this will come next, this will come next, and this will come at the end. Clear? That means the least significant byte is stored first. Okay, so in Little Indian format the order is going to change, the Big Indian format the order will remain the same. Okay, now can you tell me that is there any advantage of changing the order? Okay, let me give one example. Yes, if you want to read something from the memory, certainly Big Endian is more useful, right? Because you are reading in order. But suppose you are doing some computation. Okay. So for example, you are suppose you want to add two numbers, and let's, for the sake of simplicity, let's assume that you are adding two decimal number. Okay. Say 1001 5 2 3 4. Let's take some random number. So how do you add two numbers? You add 4 and 5, 4 and 1 5, 3 plus 0 3, 2 plus 0 2, 5 plus 1 6. So that means for addition you are starting from this side, right, and coming in this side, right? For reading we start from this side and go to this side. We start from left and go to right. But for any arithmetic computation, be it addition, multiplication, subtraction, we start from right hand side and then come to left hand side, right? So that means if I change the order, the computation may be more, can be done more easily, right? Okay, the computation can be done easily because the computation follow the reverse order than reading. Okay, the Big Endian format, if you store it, your reading is fine, but while computation you need to first start with the last byte and then come to the first byte, right, at the time of computation. In the Little Endian format, if you store it in the reverse fashion, then you will start from the first byte and move to the last byte. But while reading, you need to do the reverse operation. So what I am saying is that Little Endian format is not, I mean, that it's not like there is no advantage if I store a number in Little Endian format. Okay, that's all I want to say. Yet everyone, if you store a number in Big Endian format, you have some advantage, but you have some disadvantage also. If you store a number in Little Endian format, then also you have some advantage. It's not like there is no advantage. Okay, because for computation, we start from right and then come to the left. While reading, we do the reverse. So every format has its own pros and cons. Okay. All right. Now let's try to find out what my computing system, what format my computing system follows. Okay. All right. So here there is a table that is showing different type of processors and what Indian format it follows. You see that some processors like Motorola, IBM, Spark, they all follows Big Endian notation. Okay, Intel follows Little Endian notation. Some other processors like ARM, they follows Bi Indian, or they supports both Indian formats only. But in Bi Indian processors also you can run in either mode. Okay, but only one mode can be chosen for operation. Okay, you need to choose one mode. Okay, it supports both the modes, but you can choose, you need to one mode. All right. Others among the other processors, some processors supports Little Endian, some processors supports Big Endian. Okay, so that means both has its pros and cons. Now let's try to understand what Indian format my processor or my computing system follows. All right. Okay. So here from this example, what did you understand? From this example and from this output, what did you understand? If I am storing 5000, which is 000, all zeros, 0001, 0011, and 10000100, which format is followed over here?
Is it little Endian?
It is Little Endian, right? Because if it would be Big Endian, then PC would have pointed to this, which has the value of 0, but PC is not pointing to this, PC is pointing to this. You see, the first byte, which is 0, is stored at the end, right? Second byte is stored before that, third byte is stored before that, and the last byte is stored first. From this understanding, you can understand that my computing system is following Little Endian format. Okay. All right. Clear to everyone or not?
That's clear.
That's clear. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
make it yeah, little more clearer. Say. So here I am writing a program to check whether my that is going to output whether my program is Big Endian or Little Endian. This is very similar to this, but let's write it in a little bit different way. So basically, at this point I am writing the same program. Okay, a equal to 1. Okay, 1 is easier to understand because it is all zeros followed by 1. Clear? And then I'm just saying that character pointer PC equal to ampersand a. So I may need to change the type of the pointer. Basically, I'm doing the exact same thing that I have written over here. Okay. All right. Okay. Then I can write that if asterisk PC, that means is value at the address asterisk PC is true, then I can write that this is Little Endian. If asterisk PC is true, then it is Little Endian. Yes, it is. Okay. Is this logic clear to all of you or not? Let's try to understand. So if I store 1 in 4 byte, it will be 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 first byte, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay. This is the format. Okay. Now if it is stored in Big Endian format, that means PC should point to this location, this byte, right? If it is stored in Big Endian format, then PC should point to this byte. That means PC should be false. Okay, so that's what I'm checking. If PC is true or false. If PC is false, then Big Endian. But if PC is true, that means PC will point to this location. So in that case, this is Little Endian. Okay. So if I run this program, the program output should tell me whether my machine is Big Endian or Little Endian. Okay. So let's run this program quickly. I think I made a spelling mistake, but that's okay. So it is showing that it follows Little Endian. Okay, and which is correct, because if I write ls CPU, you will see that my byte order is showing as Little Endian. Okay, so my program output is indeed correct. Okay, it is indeed Little Endian machine. And you can see that this is an Intel machine. So Intel machine, from this table also you can find out that Intel machine follows little endian format. Okay. So my machine indeed follows little endian format. Clear? So if I apply the same concept over here, I can see how these individual bytes are stored in individual memory location. Okay, by changing it to character pointer, and as character pointer points to one byte, I can see each and every byte in individual memory location and how they are stored. Okay, as you can see that we are getting into more and more low level stuff. Instead of writing 5,000, if I write 10,000, you will be able to interpret whatever the output is, right? So instead of 5,000, if I write 10,000, it is showing 16, 39, 0 and 0. Okay, if you go to this and write 10,000 over here, you will find this. So you should be able to debug. So now we need to divide it by 8 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the previous 2 bytes are going to be all 0. So now you can check each and every individual byte. So it is 16. So that's how the first byte is showing as 16, which is correct. The next byte is 39. So you can see the next byte is 39. Previous 2 bytes are all zeros. Okay, all right. So it is, matching with my expectation or my understanding about big endian, little endian, how numbers are stored and all those things. Okay. We have learned pointer to an integer, right? Now let's learn pointer to pointer. All right. So let's see. So pointer to pointer means we have learned that pointer stores the address of a variable, right? So that means pointer can also store the address of another pointer, right? So that's how we are calling as pointer to pointer. Okay. So let's see. So here I have started explaining the concept of pointer. Okay. Now let's learn pointer to pointer. Pointer to pointer means, as I said, that it will point to another pointer. That means P is a pointer. I will declare another pointer which is going to point to P. Okay. So P is a pointer to an integer. Now if I define integer pointer to pointer, I mean asterisk Q, that means P is a pointer to an integer. Okay, here I was reading P is a pointer to an integer or P is an integer pointer. Here I am reading Q is a pointer to an integer. Okay, that means Q is a pointer to an integer. Okay, or I can also say that Q is a pointer to an integer pointer. Okay, so here I know that integer pointer, P is an integer pointer, so P is a pointer to Q. Q is a pointer to P, or Q can be a pointer to P. Okay, P is an integer pointer, so Q can be a pointer to P. All right. So how can I write that Q is a pointer to P? Exactly same as this sentence. Here I am writing P is a pointer to A by writing P equal to %A. Now if I want to write Q is a pointer to P, then I need to write Q is equal to ampersand p. That's it. That means q is a pointer to p. So in pictorially, if I want to show you, that means whenever I am writing integer asterisk asterisk p asterisk asterisk q, that means in the memory location q is a pointer. Pointer means it's an address. So address means 8 byte is going to be stored in a 64-bit machine. Okay, and whenever I am writing q is equal to asterisk p, q is equal to ampersand p, whenever I am writing this line, that means the address of p will be assigned to q. So what is the address of p? Suppose address of p is say 20,000. So this 20,000 will be stored in q. Okay, so that means I can say that q is pointing to p. So q is pointing to p, p is pointing to a. That means q becomes a pointer to an integer. Clear to everyone? Q points to p, p points to a, which is an integer. So q becomes a pointer to an integer. All right. Okay. So again, let's move to the terminal and let's learn some coding. So let me open a new file because we have already have multiple things over here. So pointer to let's close this file. Okay. So previously I was saying that int a equal to whatever the value is, okay, 10,000. And then I was writing int asterisk p equal to ampersand. Okay. Now I am saying that q is a pointer to an integer. Okay, q is a pointer to an integer, and I am writing q is equal to ampersand. Okay, so I can also merge these two lines, and I can write that int asterisk q equal to ampersand. So these lines are equivalent. I am declaring and initializing the variable as well as pointer simultaneously. Clear to everyone? Okay. Now let's print this same sentence, which at this point you must have understood. The value of p is going to be some address and asterisk p is going to be 10,000, right? Okay. Now let's see. Let's print the value of q and asterisk. Let's print the value of q and asterisk. Okay. And let's print the value of asterisk q. Okay. So let's try to see. Okay, so there is a problem. Problem is coming in this line where I have written %d in place of asterisk p, right? So this is giving a problem that %d expects an integer, but it's an integer pointer. Yes, as p is a pointer to an integer, then asterisk p means it's a integer pointer, right? So not p, this is q, sorry. Q is a pointer to an int. That implies that asterisk q means the value at the memory location pointed to by q. So value at the memory location pointed to by q is p, right? So that means asterisk p, asterisk q is basically a integer pointer. Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to write it. Q points to, okay, Q I was showing in the Wacom. So let's assume that this notation is basically showing this that direction. So Q points to P and P points to integer A. Okay. Right. So Q points to P. So asterisk P means the value at the memory location that is pointed to by Q. So value at the memory location pointed to by Q is P. And what is P? P is an integer pointer. Right? P is an integer pointer. Alright, so as asterisk q is an integer pointer, I need to use %p. Alright, so now it should work perfectly. And now if I write pointer to pointer, alright, so you can see that p is pointing to this address. Asterisk p means value at the memory location pointed to by p, which is 10,000, which is basically the value of a. Q is stored in a different memory location, okay, but asterisk q is basically same as p, and asterisk q means q is pointing to p is pointing to a. That means value of a is 10,000. Right? So if you just imagine that picture, you should be clear. All right. So now if I write asterisk q equal to say 5,000, that means what will happen in the memory location? If you just remember the picture,
It will change the value of
it will change the value of a. Okay, basically I'm writing asterisk q is equal to asterisk p. Okay, asterisk q is basically p, which is basically a. That means the value of a is going to be changed to 5,000. Okay, if I print the value of a over here, okay, you'll see that the value of a is changed to 5,000. Okay, if I write say asterisk q equal to asterisk p plus 1,000, then what will happen? Asterisk q is basically same as a, and asterisk p is basically same as a only. That means you are incrementing the value of a by 1,000. Okay, that means the value of a will change from 5,000 to 6,000. Okay. So you see that the value of a is changed to 6,000. Okay, so these are all dereferencing. Right?
If you did like asterisk q equals or like plus something, it would just give you garbage, right? Because you're gonna be pointing to somewhere that you don't know what's there.
If you write asterisk q plus 1,
Or just whatever.
okay, yeah, so let's print the value of asterisk q plus 1 is %, let's type %p. So asterisk q plus 1. So what is asterisk q? Asterisk q is p, right?
Uh-huh.
That means this is equivalent to p plus 1. So p is this, p plus 1 is going to be plus 4 byte.
Okay.
Right?